Spring practice is back, and we're excited about it.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me, Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. We'll talk about Monarch Money here in just a bit. I want to thank you every day for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thank everybody for making this your first listen every day. Jimmy, I can't stop smiling. Spring practice is back. And one of the reasons I'm smiling is because I'm not having to do any of the Oklahoma drills or anything. But it's back, baby. It's back. And what a great week. You know, we get spring practice back. Alabama plays on Friday. NCAA tournament started. Just great stuff.
Yeah, I'm about to watch Alabama play baseball. It's about to be on TV or on SEC Plus. And a little bit softball plays tomorrow. SEC Gymnastics Championships are on Saturday. March Madness, and the football team. So it really is an awesome time of year, not to mention the weather. I hope for everyone listening today, the weather down here in South Alabama, unbelievably nice today. I assume it's that way all over. Kadyn DeBoer making special note today of how great the weather was in Tuscaloosa for practice. So, yeah, interesting practice based on what we're able to gather. What I want to talk about mostly in terms of my take from today's practice is really about the running game. And by that, I mean, DeBoer was specifically asked about.
But do DeBoer's comments in the second segment. Here's what I want. You told me you were looking at a lot of practice video. I hadn't even seen it yet. So I'm going to be just as surprised a lot of people listen. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say about practice video. And then I want to ask about that.
Sure. What stood out to me the most of watching the practice video carefully was, obviously, we're stuck with what they show us, right? And so I can talk about what stands out to me when I watch. There was, it was just a drill. They do all sorts of offensive line drills, but the drill we watched, as far as the offensive line goes, was a blocking drill, kind of a what I would call a drive blocking drill, where the offensive line were working on firing out in the run game, being physical and gaining leverage and moving defensive linemen. And it's one of the things that we didn't do well enough last year. Now, part of this was due to the types of runs. As we all know, that watched every play last season, the most common run play all year was, of course, the option read. Where the quarterback, Jalen Milroe, takes a snap and he makes a read. He reads a certain player, and based on his read of that player, he either keeps it or he pitches it to the back. I mean, that was our most common run play. And Jalen kept it a lot of times and a lot of that time. So the running back was not only not getting enough touches because the touches were all going to Jalen. That's a different run game than these guys are used to, because these guys came out of high school programs where the run games were all downhill. There were pitches off tackle. There were power plays inside. There were straight runs designed for, hey, we weren't reading anything. We were just putting our head down and going. And I think that it all affected the running backs. But today they were working on drive blocking. And I think what we're going to see is a more traditional run game for Alabama this year. All those carries that Jalen Milroe was getting are going to be split amongst the backs. I consider it a good thing, and I know a lot of y'all do. Just keep this in mind. Jalen Milroe had the most carries of any runner. He had the most yards of any runner and the most touchdowns. Let's remember how effective it was. It was actually effective last year. It was not like Jalen kept it and averaged 30 yards a week. That's not what happened every week. It wasn't completely ineffective. I think people look back at the losses in Michigan and Oklahoma and Tennessee and think, gosh, it just didn't work. Well, I would say it did work to varying degrees of success. But this year, I think it's going to be better because it's going to be a little more traditional. And that's what I saw today with that offensive line group, Luke, was traditional drive blocking, working on power, being big and powerful up front. We saw Formby was back. He was at right tackle. We saw Kam Dewberry and Gino Vandermark both taking snaps at left guard. The right side of that offensive line, to me, looks really good. Parker Brailsford in the middle, Jaden Roberts at right guard, Wilkin Formby at right tackle. I think that's going to be a really good right side. We got to get the left side figured out. Kadyn Proctor's missing the spring hurt. He's ironically never participated in a spring practice in his college career.
He's got it. He's figured out a loophole.
I know, it's like he's like an NFL veteran with the OTAs. He's figured it out that he don't have to be there.
You know what it is? He is the who was the guy that like wanted to go on a date with Elaine but didn't want to ask her out. He figured out a dating loophole, remember? And he said,
yeah, the comedian.
And he asked the model, he made her bet. He said, I bet you dinner that Richard M. Nixon's middle name was Mo. And of course, it was Millhouse. And she was like, you owe me a dinner. And then they were figured out he had a dating loophole. Anywho,
that's kind of exactly what's happening with Kadyn Proctor.
But you know what? Let me tell you something. I think we may see more and more of this. I know it's a loophole now, but I think we'll see more and more of this where, hey, man, we don't really, I mean, yeah, it's good to get all the reps you can get, I guess. I don't really need to see a ton out of Kadyn Proctor. I get it.
No, I think Kadyn understands the offense. He's been around. He's started. What we need, finally, this is what we've never seen at Alabama. Not one time. I know some people have complaints about the way Kadyn has played. I don't, but some people do. But this is the fact. We saw inexperienced, overweight Kadyn Proctor. And then the next year, we saw hurt Kadyn Proctor. Played the entire season hurt. Had surgery right when the season was over. That's why he's missing the spring. We have never once seen an experienced, in shape, healthy Kadyn Proctor. Hadn't been seen. I'm not going to judge him until I see that. And hopefully we'll have that situation in the fall. I think when we do see that, Luke, we're going to see an all SEC football player. That's what I believe.
And y'all better take Jimmy seriously because to illustrate his point, he's using a coat hanger for some reason.
I am. Why it's ended up in my talking zone, I don't know. And I can't put it. It would be worse if it was a football.
What a random item to just.
I guess it's here because this shirt.
I guess you want people hanging on your every word.
Hey, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah,
not bad. Yeah, I'll put it down. But yeah, I'm getting excited because I got to watch football today. I watched some basketball stuff this morning, and then I watched a football practice video tonight. I'm watching baseball. This is heaven for a sports nerd like myself. Oh, and then I went to the golf course for about 45 minutes. Just didn't bring the bag. Just bought my putter, putted, played a little putting game with myself, and lost, of course, because gosh, I'm just still not.
You're that bad.
I'm not a good putter. It's probably the weakest part of my game, really.
Talk about Kam Dewberry's size. I'm
Yeah,
seeing some
looks
reports,
good.
and again, I can't wait to watch a video myself that he just looks like an Empire State Building out there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to over exaggerate when I say, of course, we're just seeing such a brief clip, but he was impressive. I mean, again, they're working on kind of driving, which means, getting their hands on the defensive lineman, gaining leverage and moving the defensive lineman where they want it moved. And let me tell you, Dewberry is a big, powerful dude. He did his rep was good. I think if I had to bet money today on the starting left guard, I would probably go Dewberry. And that's tough. I'm glad no one's actually making me bet on that because I do think Gino Vandermark is very realistic. Big Mike Carroll is very realistic at left guard. It's not because I doubt Dewberry. Dewberry's not good enough. I just think the competition there is like real. And we've gone to a pretty good situation up front, Luke, where I think we have more good candidates than we have spots. I won't be surprised if we see some level of rotation. Maybe playing 3 tackles, maybe playing 3 guards, maybe playing 2 centers. I wouldn't be shocked to see that because I think the depth is literally that good. What you hope is that 5 guys clearly separate and are clearly better than the others. I'm certainly not. I think Proctor and Formby would be good, but I think Jackson Lloyd might be a real dude to watch there. And inside, Dewberry deserves snaps. So does Vandermark. Of course, Jaden Roberts and Parker Brailsford will play, but I think we might see some rotation there. This staff has shown a propensity to do that, to play more guys than the Saban staff did.
Talking a little Upwork, scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. And with Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. It helps you find the right talent. It's fast and easy, and it's cost-effective growth. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com, to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Now I want to talk about Fabric, because this is pretty cool. I'm glad to have them on as a sponsor. Life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes, and in many cases, no health exam is required. Look, as a parent, I want to make sure my family is financially protected no matter what happens. Fabric gives me that peace of mind. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. It's awesome. Go check out Fabric. And again, it's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Now, since you were so anxious, you get to talk about Kalen DeBoer's comments.
Yeah, we'll talk about what he said in the run game, really. And it kind of ties into what we're talking in the video. DeBoer even, talked about how in the run game, it was non-traditional a year ago. There were so many RPOs, so many quarterback keeps that maybe the running backs didn't develop a rhythm. And I personally think that we haven't really seen Jam Miller at his best. Like I talked about earlier about how Kadyn Proctor, we've never seen him experienced at a good weight and healthy. I don't think we've seen Jam Miller experienced in an offense that really suits what he does. I'm not saying we're going to see Saquon Barkley or Ashton Jenney. He's not that guy. I think we've seen enough to know he's not that guy. I just think that he's better than what we've seen so far, and we're going to see the best Jam Miller yet. This fall, they're very high on him. They're very high on Rich Young, I know. And I think Young is going to push Jam. But DeBoer was specifically asked about Dre Washington today, and he was really complimentary of him. I'm not surprised. I like the tape that we saw of Dre-led Washington from the University of Louisiana. DeBoer mentioned that he's a good combination, that some guys in the room have different styles. Like Kevin Riley, he mentioned, is a far different style than Daniel Hill. Kevin Riley's explosive, he's shifty. Daniel Hill's a power, move the chains guy. DeBoer mentioned how Dre Washington is a combination of both those things. That's what he's bringing to the table. He's shifty and quick like Kevin Riley, but he's also will put his head down and move the pile and make the tough yard like Daniel Hill. It sounded to me like Dre Washington is a guy they're going to work to find some carries. And I think that might be a theme of this team, which ironically I would describe as pretty deep in a lot of places, is I think some guys may just be too good to keep off the field. And I think Dre may be one of those guys. Jam would be fine as the every down back. They want to see Rich Young, but they're going to find a way to get Dre Washington some touches. I think this is a quality player. I don't know that he's a first round freak. I don't think Jam's that. We'll see about Rich Young. I think if Alabama has a real talent in the running back room, it's probably AK Deer, but he just got there. He's still figuring out where the mess hall is, so might take him a hot minute coming from Quitman, Mississippi. But Alabama's running back room is deep. It's varied in skill. But DeBoer seems excited about getting back to a traditional run game. And we kind of saw it a little bit on the video, and then we hear it in his comments.
I was about to say noticeably absent in your comments is AK Deer, but you brought him up at the end. And
Yeah.
So do you think running back is the deepest room, number one? And number two, are we calling Richard Young Rich now? Is that what we're
He
doing?
goes by Rich.
That's what
I don't know what his best buddies call him. I know the coaches call him that from being around the practice field. I mean, I think they kind of call him Rich. I mean,
it's a good question. My dad's name is Richard, but everybody calls him Ricky. Is there a reason to call it? Is like there's some impetus behind calling somebody Rich, Ricky, or Rick when your name is Richard? Do you know?
I don't know. I would have to Google, but my middle name is James, and there's 48 takeoffs on that, including
Jimothy.
Jimmy. I get called that. Good buddy, Chavers, he calls me that all the time.
All right. So is this the deepest room though?
I would go wide receiver.
I'm with you.
Which might surprise people because last year it seemed like the shallowest position in the sense
100%.
that Ryan and Germ caught twice as many balls as the rest of the wide receiver room combined. So we really had two and then a cliff. I think this year it's going to look different, though Ryan and Germ will no doubt lead the way.
I think you're 100% right. I almost didn't want to say it though, because you and I have been talking about the receivers for like 8 straight podcasts, and I think people are probably tired of it. But every time we turn around, that's who's getting the praise. I mean, today I know that the coaches were talking about Derek Meadows and Lotzier Brooks, and yeah, they were like, hey, they have some. There's room for growth, but they were both highly lauded with praise. And then you talk about Derek Meadows. Last year, the tallest receiver we had was about 6'1". Now the tallest receiver we have is 6'6".
Yeah, he's easy to spot.
Now, I say the tallest receiver we had. Caleb Odom was taller, but he also didn't really play a ton.
No,
so.
He only caught like about 6 balls. And frankly, here I'll go ahead and say this so people record this if you like, saying, hey, remember that time Jimmy was wrong? So y'all can record this. I'll say Derek Meadows will be a better college football player at wide receiver than Caleb Odom. I really believe that, even though we haven't seen Derek play yet in a game. I just like his skill set much better. I think Caleb Odom is a tight end wide receiver tweener. I think Derek Meadows is pure wide receiver, and he's standing out. And what I really liked about DeBoer's comments today about Derek Meadows and Lotzier Brooks is the varied skill sets. Wide receivers are like a basketball team. Lotzier Brooks is our point guard. Derek Meadows is our center. Derek is going to use his body to make catches. He will position it. It will make him a great red zone threat. Whereas Lotzier is more of the wide open. Hey, he'll score from your 10. He'll score from our 10. I mean, he'll be a playmaker. He's also got excellent ball skills. I think the comps here, and people don't go overboard with this, but the comps here are Mike Evans for Derek Meadows. No, I'm not saying Derek Meadows is Mike Evans or will be a first-round pick or a Hall of Fame player. Frankly, Mike Evans is working on a Hall of Fame career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not saying that. I'm just saying his game is like Mike Evans. When you look out there on the field at Derek Meadows when he's a junior or senior, physically, you're going to think, wow, he looks a lot like Mike Evans. I think Lotzier is Jalen Waddle. He's built like him. He'll play like him. Will he be as good as Waddle? Heck, only Waddle is as good as Waddle. I'm just trying to paint a picture because we're doing this either by a podcast or you're looking at me. You ain't looking at video of Lotzier. I'm trying to describe to you guys what this is going to look like on the field. And Lotzier is going to look like Waddle. Derek Meadows is going to look like Mike Evans of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think there's a slightly better, came up with a good comp for Meadows one time. Who's that? There's a wide receiver. I know it is. He plays for the Jets, and he did play for the Packers. Alan Lazard. That's who Derek Meadows is. I mean, I think he's built like him, and I think the skill sets. I think he'll be a similar player to him. And that guy's working on like year 7 in the NFL.
Wasn't it? Speaking of Mike Evans, that 2013 Alabama versus, or was it 2013 Alabama
13.
Texas A&M game was just ridiculous. And when
He
you think
murdered
about
us.
the talent that was on the field that day, and you think about Mike Evans I think it was third down and on their own 6, and Manziel just throws one up, and I'm pretty sure he beat Cyrus Jones, who turned
Cyrus
out to be an
Jones. I do
amazing
remember.
player. And oh my
Correct.
God, Mike Evans just outraced everybody for a 94-yard touchdown. That whole game was just insane.
Really was. And boy, he murdered us that day. I know some people, of course, it's easy as an Alabama fan to get super frustrated when one guy's doing that much damage. I just tend to be in awe of it because I know how good we are. Think of how good Alabama was in 2013. That team was one gimmick weird play away from probably three-peating as national champions. And Mike Evans went out there and just tore us up. He's gone to the NFL. And I think uh, Luke may know this better than me, but I think he just set some sort of a record
He
in
did.
Tampa Bay. He's caught over 1,000 yards worth of balls, like 10 years in a row. I don't know that anyone's ever done that.
They
Uh,
haven't.
just a remarkable NFL career. So he's headed to the Hall of Fame. That was an NFL Hall of Famer it took to rip up an Alabama defense. Wouldn't it be something if Derek Meadows had a similar career? I take that's why, again, my comps, I don't want them to be unfair or unrealistic, but I also want to paint a picture. Everybody listening to the show knows Mike Evans. So that's why you bring up those comps, but I never mean them as, hey, AK Deer is going to be Darren McFadden. I try not to say every now, and when I do say that, I want to emphasize how rare it is. And it only takes the rarest of players like a Julio Jones for me to say things like that.
My kids did give me a mug that says "World's Greatest Dad" on it, and then they later told me it's not really official. So, but I mean, same thing, right? Same thing.
You could be.
I have the most kids.
We don't know that you're not the world's greatest. We don't know that you're not.
I don't know how official any of these things are. Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go? Yeah, I do that all the time. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. It was a lot. Now I budget smarter and I save a lot more. It's all in one convenience. It's easy collaboration. Everything is great with Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege, all word, for half off your first year. And then you can just thank me whenever you see me.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Cool show.
Yeah, wait a minute. I guess I have to do this. I don't know if I do or no. I'm doing it.
Well,
all
I
right.
think you did just fine. That is a cool show. I look forward to a tournament starting up, and I'm going to watch the tournament unfold with the Fire TV Bracket Breakdown guys. That's how I'm doing college basketball.
You said I can't wait. I thought you were about to say I can't wait to be a part of it, and you are going to be a part of it. But it always makes me think about when Michael Scott, somebody was talking, and they were like, it's an inside joke. He goes, I love inside jokes. I hope to be a part of one someday.
I just heard him today flipping around when he had to tell when everybody in the office found out he was dating Pam's mother.
Oh yeah,
Pam found out,
that's
and
tough.
she lost it. He said, I knew that could go one of two ways, but I didn't imagine that she would be upset.
Yeah. He really was. He's great. Let's talk who we have in our Final Fours. I mean,
yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I used to take this a lot more seriously. I would sign up for all these office pools and do all this stuff. And now I'm like, I don't have the energy. So I do some stuff with the family. I'm doing stuff with like some sports folks I know. And that's probably pretty much it. So maybe this is Luke, Captain Homer of the Gump Brigade, but I'm choosing Alabama to win the national championship, and they're beating Michigan State.
I like it.
And the Final Four is Michigan State, Florida, Bama, Houston. I don't think it's crazy.
Of course not.
It's not crazy.
No.
But and one other bracket, I do actually have Alabama, Auburn in the national championship with Alabama winning it. And that would be – I can't imagine anything better. But I would also, as a bona fide hater of Auburn, be mad that they made it that far, even if we beat them.
So you wouldn't be happy that Alabama was there. You'd just be mad that Auburn was there.
They would find a way to ruin my day.
Wow. I'm too chalky when it comes to this stuff. It would be fun. I wish I could sit here saying, I've got UC San Diego in my Final Four and then looking brilliant when it happens. But I'm very chalky when it comes and too conservative. That probably surprises no one that listens to the show every day. I have a very chalky Final Four: Duke, Houston, Florida, and Michigan State, like Luke. So I have 3 1s and a 2. I have Alabama losing to Duke in the Elite Eight. I have Auburn losing to Michigan State in the Elite Eight. And then I have Duke beating Florida for the national championship. I want to say Florida, but I think teams get super hot and it can only last so long. I did think Florida would win the SEC tournament. So did Luke. That's one thing we both predicted correctly. I think before the SEC tournament started, I just felt at the time Florida was playing the best, and they are. And I would say right now Florida's playing better than anyone in college basketball. I'm just saying they're not going to keep it up. They're going to lose because you get super hot and you get red hot, and then what happens? You flame out. The team that I like consistency-wise for me is Duke. I was really impressed how they continued to win even after Cooper Flagg went down. The fact that they have a team good enough to win the ACC without Cooper Flagg, and now you're adding him. I like Duke to get red hot. That said, don't think I'm selling Alabama short. There's not a team in this tournament Alabama cannot beat. And if Alabama starts shooting like we thought they might before the season started, Alabama could easily rip off 6 wins in this thing. I do worry about the health of Grant Nelson and Darion Reed and the depth. So I got Duke taking out Alabama in the Elite Eight, which in my opinion, it would be the second best Alabama season of all time behind last year, should they go to the Elite Eight and lose to Duke, because it would be the third Alabama team to get that far. But this team has accomplished more than that one that lost in the Elite Eight back, Godfrey's team. This team's better than that, had a better regular season. It's just a better team than that team. So I would say if Alabama gets that far, even losing to Duke, I would say that's the second best season in Alabama history.
So, would you rather another SEC team win the championship, or would you rather say Duke win it?
Depends on the SEC team. I'm not going to sit here on the Alabama show and say I'm cool with Auburn winning the national title. I would not like that. That would be something that would that would be unsettling to watch. So I would be somewhat happy.
It would be unsettling.
I do have friends that are Auburn fans, and I don't wish ill will upon them at all. They're good friends. But I do want the SEC to emphatically prove that inviting 13 or 14 SEC teams was the right thing to do. That's what I would like to see, even if that means a lot of success for our rivals. I would like the SEC to prove emphatically that inviting 14 SEC teams was exactly the right move. So I would like to see that.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to see the SEC do well. And I don't mind if Florida wins it. I wouldn't even mind like if Mississippi State won it, or Auburn or Tennessee winning it would be bothersome.
They both have difficult draws to me, both Auburn and Tennessee. They have to, Tennessee, for instance, going to have to go through Houston. By the way, when I see that Tennessee and Houston is a potential Elite Eight matchup, I look at like, it reminds me of the Spider-Man meme, how they're, the two Spider-Man guys are pointing at each other going, hey, I'm Spider-Man. No, I'm Spider-Man. Who do you think you are? But I think Tennessee and Houston are basketball
They are the same thing.
doppelgangers.
All right, I'm going to show a picture, and I had to convert it from whatever an HEIC is to a JPEG. So, but apparently Josh Niblett is going to take a spot with the Colorado coaching staff, and this picture has been put out, and I don't know how to make it any bigger. I'm sorry, y'all, but don't joke about what I just said. Michael Scott would put a line in there right now, but I just thought this picture was so random. There is a mouse for some reason right there, like just a computer mouse, and then a little thing of, is that chapstick?
I think it's a marker to write on the board.
Is it a marker, or it may be just a big thing of chapstick? But like, what a couple of random things to have in the picture. I don't know.
To me, the random things to have in the picture are Josh Niblett and Deion Sanders.
That is more random. That's so true. All right. That's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.